Hey guys, here's every single class that I took while I was studying abroad in Barcelona for the computer science program. So here we go. Forgive me if I don't remember all of the exact details of every single class, every single feeling that I had, because I literally took these classes a year ago because it is now the summer after. I don't know what happened to my YouTube, fell off, whatever, happens to the best of us, but here's every single class. Ready? I took 4 classes because we were required to take 12 credit hours, which is 4 classes. Okay, awesome. Every single class that I took was 3 credits, do the math, 12 credits, right? Here's a class that I took: computational photography, ethics, architecture, and discrete math. So starting off with computational photography, I took this class because I was kind of like put into it. So here's how it works when you're studying abroad is that you can like rank the different classes that you have because there's only so many offered, right? And so there was only a couple of them that go towards my degree. And at this time my threads were info intel, and so computational photography wasn't gonna fit into my plan. So then I got put into this class and I was like, you know what? I think I can change my major to, or like I can change my thread to media. So I changed one of them to media. That way this class could count. And then ethics, architecture, and discrete math were all able to count. So ultimately, like that was my goal, is to have like every single one of my classes when I was studying abroad to count for my degree. There were some people that took 4 classes, but only 2 of those classes counted. That's okay. I just wanted to like get the most out of it. So there you go. Computational photography, literally one of my favoriteest class ever. This is like why I love the media thread so much, is that all of these classes are just so fun and silly and goofy and awesome. In this class, I had 3 friends. So there was like a group of us, 4 of us, that we just did like everything together. We were, like studying in the basement together. We were doing all of our projects together. This was a very group project heavy class. And so I really enjoyed it because we were all really good friends. And it was really fun because in this class, our professor, he allowed us to like go out into the city and like take photos. And then we would have to like stitch them into panoramas. What did I say? Panorama? See, like I forget exactly what I did in the class, but I remember that I learned so much. Like computational photography is basically you're taking an image and you're using code to like change it. The first project that we did was we had to take an image and then we had to change the color, but it had to be all blue, like blue tinted. I remember the first time I tinted the wrong, so like RGB, I tinted the wrong one and I made it all red, and I was like, no. But I spent so much time on it because I was, no matter how many times I was running it, it wasn't changing colors, and then eventually changed to red. So I was like, oh, like not what I need, but it changed the wrong color, and then I eventually changed it to blue. So it was awesome. That was just like one of the projects. We worked with videos, which was super cool. GIFs, so like repeating images, panoramas. It was a very, very, very cool class. I will not even lie. And I learned a lot of like film techniques in it. So you know how like, this is one that I remember because I was testing it in class. So you know how like in a movie when someone is like in shock, like in a horror movie or something, it'll like look like it's zooming into the face, but the background is like zooming out. So we learned how to do that, and basically you're like zooming in while zooming, or like zooming out while zooming in, so that like you're changing the background but the object is the same. It was so cool. I learned how to do that. Okay, whatever. Enough about this class. I really, really, really liked it. And also our TA, shout out to our TA Chris. He was the GOAT. Like whenever we needed help, he was just always available to like come and help us. And what I really loved about this class too, about all the classes in Barcelona, but this one especially, is that it was so like lenient and flexible and chill, is that like they realized, like obviously they don't know how long it's going to take us to do something, and also like we had traveling to account for too. So anytime like we were a little bit stressed or had like big travel plans or whatever, like we were able to talk to them and say like, oh hey, can we get an extension on this project, or hey, like is it okay if I submit this a couple days late? And then they were so chill with that. So most of them were project based, and then we also had like a couple exams. I want to say it was like either 3, so like 1 beginning, 1 mid, and then 1 final exam. Now I remember like this final exam was on my birthday, so I was studying for it on my birthday, or like the night before. Yeah, I took it on my birthday. I needed to get like a minimum score to get an A in the class, so then I was just like praying and hoping. It was like a very low score too, so I only like 13 I had to get correct, and then I ended up getting like 16 correct, and I was like, yes, like look at me go. A W. That was a W birthday present. And then what we had to do is like create websites presenting our project, and then the teacher would then put it onto his personal portfolio. So it's like he was kind of using our projects to build his portfolio. Whatever, like do that, you rock. He was an awesome professor. He was really funny. He was very like, he was so software engineering coded, but like in the best way possible. All right, my next class was ethics. This was like 4001 class. It's the ethics class that every CS major has to take so that we rule the world, but like in a positive way, you know, the whole spiel. I like this class because it was very case study oriented. So we had a bunch of different cases that we would study. We talked about like Boeing so one of the Boeing planes, a technical error, but then a technical error just kept getting ignored and ignored and ignored, and lots of people died, and not good. So we talked about like the reasoning behind that. And then there was also this one, it was like a technology that was scanning for some kind of disease, and then it was actually like secretly burning the person. And then yeah, it was like this whole thing. I don't remember these cases, but I remember talking about them. We had like debates in this class. Our final project was, or like our final exam was a debate, and our team won, so awesome. Yeah, and then we had to write a lot of essays in the class, which I was not a fan of. I like case study and I like talking about it, but when I had to like write essays about it, I was like, ugh, because oh my god, yes, because we had to like do a lot of research, it was like we were MLA citing, like background 1, like reasoning 1, like, you know, thesis, prong 1, prong 2, prong 3. Oh my god, it reminded me so much of middle school when we had to write essays, but I just had not written an essay in so long, so I was like, not loving it. But, you know, it is what it is. It was an okay class. The professor for this class was actually the wife of my other class in computational photography. They were married, and it was really cute because they also brought their son to Barcelona, which is awesome. Yeah, I think like she, like the professor itself, like she had a lot of like life advice to give because she also worked corporate and like had that experience, and now she's like professoring, teaching, and lots of good advice. She also brought in one of her friends, which was like the coolest friend in the world. She worked at like basically every big tech company, so like you name it, she worked there, and now she's just getting her pilot's license and she's gonna be a pilot. So I think she's so cool, and if like I want to be her. And then ethics, I like this class, ethics, because we had like deadlines, but in the meantime it was like pretty chill. So this is the class that I would do a lot of my research in for travel. So this is what I was like, had the credit card out, was booking flights, was booking trains, was booking Airbnbs like during this class. But it was awesome. And it was really convenient because a lot of our friends that we were traveling with were also in the same class, and then we would sit together and like travel it and plan it out. Yes, awesome class. Next is discrete math. I mean, discrete math, you know, like it was, I want to say it was significantly like easier being abroad. I think like if you do take it in person, like on campus, I've heard horror stories about it, but it was personally like a-okay for us. Very, very, very like, I don't even remember discrete math, but I remember it was like a whole nother language, you know, like you were learning, shoot, man, I don't even remember discrete. Let me look it up really quick. Like discrete math is really like proofing, right? With so many different variables that look like a different language. Yes, okay, I'm piecing together, and there was like pigeonhole theory. Yes, it's all coming back to me. Sets, logic, proof, probability. Okay, yes. This class, again, like I just had to get it done, right? It's one of the main required classes for CS. This was my last math class that I had to take ever, so I'm done with math for good. We had this online website, or this online textbook. I forget exactly what it's called. Basically, we had assignments, and then it was like very take home, do it at your own time, which I like. We also had and most of these were exams, so I think we had like maybe 3 exams, and then the TA for this class was like a year older than us, and so he was pretty chill. I remember going to him for help, and he was just like unable to help me, so I don't even know how much he remembered about the class, but it's okay. Like, been there, done that. The professor for this class was actually so sweet. He was like, you know, oh, she's so cute. At the beginning of her class, she would set aside like 5 or 10 minutes to just talk about like the menu. So like in the class that we were in, there was a restaurant, like a campus bakery that all the students went to. And so the problem is that all of these things were in Spanish. She would go through the menu with us every day and like tell us, oh, like this is how you order this is how you order this, which was so helpful actually. And then the next class was architecture. Oh my god, I personally ate this class up, but I know other people had like so many horrible things to say. But let me just tell you my honest opinions. I love this class so much because, well, first of all, like one thing about me is that if I could have chosen another major, it would have been a major like in the College of Design, so either architecture or industrial design, one of those. And so I've always wanted to take a class relating to that, and so I was really A, lucky to have gotten to do so. B, I really like this class because my class specifically was architecture city literacy. So we were learning to be literate in the city of Barcelona, right? Basically, I learned why Barcelona was set up and structured the way it is. Why these buildings were here, why these buildings were here, why are the roads structured this way, why is Montjuic here, why is Montserrat here, why is, like, why did the ports come in this way, where when Barcelona was first being like settled into, like where did they first set camp, etc, etc, etc. Old city, new city, yeah. I learned all the different roads. So one thing that like was so awesome out of this is that even though I lived in Barcelona for only like 2-3-ish months, I could like, I know it with like the back of my hands. Like you could put me on a metro anywhere and I would know where we are, like learn how to figure out how to get home. That is something that I cannot do in Atlanta, considering that I've been here for all 19 years of my life. I can't do that. Like if I leave Tech's campus, like I need my maps. I do. And that's something that I really enjoyed about Barcelona, or about this architecture class, is that it taught me how to navigate a city without needing maps. And or am I further away? Like, oh, I gotta walk to the ocean. Like, oh, I gotta walk to the mountains. Oh, like the river, yeah. So anyways, this is probably not making any sense to you, but I love that class so much. Now, like one of the biggest controversies is that the professor was a little bit like, very like different than most professors. I personally liked it, but also because he liked me and we sat in the front row. But I remember our TA for this class, like me and that TA had beef or something, because one time, like, dude, trust me, like I was an avid student in that class, okay? I was sitting in the front row at every single class. Cut me some slack. One time, God forbid, I fell asleep accidentally, and like God forbid in one class I fell asleep. This is when I like sat in the back, right? So yeah, it was okay. I make eye contact with the TA, and then she sends me an email saying like, oh, if you sleep again, like you're gonna get counted absent, blah blah blah, and like she just makes a whole big deal about this, and I'm like, she like CC's our professor too, and the professor likes me, so I think he just thought that was funny. Like, so jokes on the TA, but I really had my beef with her. I didn't like her, and I'm pretty open about that. Most people hated the professor, like the TA. I loved the professor, hated the TA. Anyways, and there were 2 architecture classes. One of them, like the one that I was in, was city literacy. So very like, you were learning about the roads, you were learning about the buildings, why things were built the way they were, kind of going back in time. The other class was a very architecture heavy, so you were learning about like facades and how buildings were structured. I've also heard horror stories about that. But all goes to say is that this was literally the only semester that I got all A's in, so I guess I must have locked in or something, which is crazy because I wasn't that locked in because I was traveling everywhere. So yeah, take with that what you will. I think one of the biggest things why I studied abroad, or like, well, obviously, like, for the experience, yeah. The classes are, like, significantly easier and toned down. Like, the level of difficulty is, like, significantly turned down a notch. And that's because they know that you're traveling, and it's just a silly, awesome, goofy time. So, yeah, these are the classes that I took. Hopefully, they help you determine if you want to study abroad, if you want to take classes abroad, blah, 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 blah. You know, the whole spiel. Come back for round 2, where I talk about my classes next semester. All right, see you. Bye. Have an awesome day. Hit that subscribe button for me, will ya? Awesome. See ya.